Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me back once again to my channel. So today I'm just going to be having, some discussion in regards to writing a personal statement for university, the entry requirements into university, how to get into nursing classes for university, and also interviews. So those will be fun topics and interesting topics to discuss. So if you want to hear further, please stay tuned. Firstly, I knew I wanted to study nursing, but I needed to know what route to go into to get to nursing. So I did access to higher education, health and social care in college, and then thereafter, I got to obviously apply via UCAS to get into university. You get to choose 5 university options that you can choose to go into. So once you've chosen the 5 university options in your head before you do the application, check their entry requirements. What do they require from you in order to get into university? I know for sure that the Montfort University requires a passing exam. Northampton University requires certain amount of merit and certain amount of distinction to get into it. Nottingham University requires also a higher, they have higher requirements to get into. But when you're doing that, also read about the late submission policies, in case you do find yourself in that position, what is going to be the policies, or what would happen to you if you do have to have a late submission for an assignment or an exam. What is the policy if you had to fail something? So if you had to fail an assignment, an exam, what do you do after? What's the policy if you had to fail clinical placements? How do they handle that? Do you automatically get back grouped or deferred, or do you pass, whatever it is? So basically that's what I did. Also, if you are commuting or you're gonna move there. For me, I'm commuting, so it's easier for me to commute to the Montfort University from where I'm staying, because I can just get a straight train, 20 minutes tops, and I'm there. Downside to that is that you're having a bit of problems, because if you choose the Montfort University, your placements are going to be based in Leicestershire. If you choose Northampton University, your placements will be based in Northamptonshire. So those are the bit of things that you need to take into consideration as well, to make it easier for yourself in the long run. So when I was saying to you guys, I did my access course to higher education. Just make sure you put everything into your exams and assignments, and then halfway through your access course, you will be able to see how you've done in regards to your marks. So if you've been getting merit, or distinctions, then you're all right to enter. But if you've been getting fail, it's a bit of an issue. So if I keep looking down, I'm looking at my phone because I'm reading out my personal statement from my phone. So like I said in my previous video, for those who don't know, I initially chose mental health nursing. Thereafter I transferred over to adult nursing. So the last time I checked, if it hasn't changed, the application via UCAS for nursing, so step for step, let me carry it through. Whichever path you choose, check the entry requirements for the universities that you want to apply to. So you get to choose 5 universities that you want to apply to, and then you check the entry requirements, and thereafter you will be able to make a thorough assessment which university will be most likely to accept you. So for example, I applied in Bedfordshire University Luton campus, I applied Anglia Ruskin University, I applied the Montfort University, I applied in Northampton University, and I applied in Birmingham University for mental health nursing. Okay, and then afterwards I looked at the requirements, obviously, and then I checked all the requirements before clicking them on the UCAS application, because I needed to make sure that they will be able to accept me with my access course marks. Luckily for me, I had flying colors in my access course marks, so all the universities that I went to and all the interviews I had, they all accepted me. So if you are placed in a situation like that, you are lucky, because ball is basically in your court. It's not like you only have one university that will accept you, and unfortunately, because there's no other choices, you have to pick that you have to pick that university, if that makes any sense. So then I started just to take the first university. Birmingham is a bit too far for me to go. I'm familiar with like I said, Anglia Ruskin. The entry requirement is really high, and obviously because the entry requirement is really high, you have to be able to maintain that level of academic level of, you know, that the university requires, otherwise you're out. And I personally don't want to feel that kind of pressure on myself. So I eliminated that, and then I eliminated Bedford, because going there with the train from where I'm staying was about 1.5 hours on the train, and the earliest train from where I'm staying, which is Kettering, to what's it called, Bedford, was 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning, which means that if I had to have a 9 o'clock class, I was not going to be able to make it. So I took that out, I eliminated that. So I was like, I'm not sticking with that, I'm sticking with the Montfort University. You know, they're just looking for a pass. Obviously you're going to aim higher, but if push comes to shove and you do get placed in that kind of situation, you know, at least you're on the safe side. And secondly, I chose the Montfort University because of the traveling distance for myself, which is just 20 minutes on the train back and forth, and I'm alright with that. I can leave my house at 8 o'clock, I'll still make it there for 9 o'clock, so I'm alright with that. I'm very happy with that. So yeah, you need to take that into consideration. Furthermore, I'm doing interviews. So from my personal experience with the Montfort University, I had a Skype interview. So basically I had to read out my personal statement. They emailed us a scenario. So the scenario, if I remember correctly, that they emailed to us is, if you are in a hall, so a campus accommodation hall of students, and you see another student pushing another student, what are you going to go and do? What you're going to do about it? That's the scenario that they gave you. Then afterwards, I had to do a mathematics test where they just asked me 5 mathematics questions. The mathematics questions that they really asked me is really conversions, you know, like milligrams to milliliters and all those medication conversions. So just familiarize yourself with, you know, milligrams, grams, milliliters, liters, all those kind of micrograms and all of those kind of things. Okay. Bedford University, I went there via Skype. We had to go there. Firstly, we went into a class with one of the lecturers that is teaching there. We discussed the campus, they showed us around, and then afterwards we went into another side, we transferred to another side, group of us, and then we had to have a group interview. So basically we all formed a circle, sat around in a circle. There's 2 lecturers that asked a question. I can't remember what question they asked, and we all had to, you know, have a discussion. So it's basically, I think they're just trying to see how you interact with people, your knowledge. After we had our break, and then afterwards they called us for individual interviews. Whereas with Northampton University, you had different types of panels. Panel number 1 asks you why you chose what you chose. Panel number 2 asks you for, you know, English, mathematics, and then also group interview, some sort of presentation. Sometimes they've changed it where you have to choose a journal article, you know, and really discuss that journal article. So anyway, you get what I'm feeling. So everybody has their different types of interview. For me personally, my advice to you is just do a bit of a background check on the university that you're going to, because that help if they ask why you chose our university, so you get to tell them why you chose the university. What I feel personally helped is when you mention, you know, terminologies like person-centered care, the 6 C's of nursing, you know, mention those kind of things, so people the person that is actually interviewing you gets to feel that you actually know what you're talking about, if that makes any sense. As I was discussing, application to university via UCAS. So the last time I looked, the university, well, UCAS has 4,000 characters that you may use. So obviously you start off your personal statement with your introduction. So I start off my personal statement as I am fascinated in pursuing mental health nursing due to my experience working in a nursing home where I spend most of my time with people who suffer from mental health issues such as dementia and other challenging behaviors. Because obviously that's my personal experience. I worked in a nursing home, a residential home, and I've worked with elderly patients, or residents rather, that are suffering from dementia and other challenging behaviors. And then I discussed about how this has helped me to grow as an individual and develop the necessary skills in order to deal with patients. Further there on, from being a care assistant, I moved over to a senior care assistant. So basically I was overseeing that everybody is able to do their responsibilities, duties, and obviously being a senior care assistant allowed me to start administering medication in the care home. So another personal experience for me. So gave me more responsibilities, and also most importantly, which helps me till today, is that fact that when somebody's talking about medication, I know what medication they're talking about, because most of the medication that they administer in the hospital, I am administering them in the nursing home, in the care home, residential care home. Also, furthermore, I discussed how I work well independently as well as within a team. I also discussed about assisting with person-centered care, but I also discussed about promoting independence, allowing a resident to do, or a patient to do something for themselves if they are safe and have the ability and mental health capacity to do it for themselves. So basically my whole personal statement here is, I was brought up in Southern Africa where mental illness is not acknowledged, thus its effects are taboo, which results in much stigma being drawn to the subjects. They relate mental disorders as a form of vulnerability, which results in them viewed upon as having lower standards in the society. These stigmas are associated due to lack of education, as well as other religious reasons that has caused general prejudice amongst most of the Africans. Depression is a hidden health issue in African community that does not get addressed, and thus swept under the carpet, drawing inadequate focus in addressing these matters. Then I started talking about the statistics of mental health nurses, mental health illnesses growing within the UK. So obviously statistics shows that 1 out of 4 people will be diagnosed with mental health disorder throughout their lifetime. The government earlier announced that they will invest £1.3 billion in the NHS to improve the mental health sector, offering better training for the staff, which could ultimately treat an extra 1 million people by 2021. So that's what I did, and then afterwards I referred it back to what knowledge and skills I have obtained by studying the access course that will help me to advance over to university. So I also discussed my future goals, focusing on what's called clinical research. So basically your statement, I don't know if you can see that, but your statement should not be more than 4,000 characters, because if it's more than 4,000 characters, the UCAS will not allow you to submit that application, and then they're going to ask you, obviously you're going to need to cut down your words in order for you to submit your application. So as I was reading out for you guys, so if you can see my introduction, I mainly talked about my experience, what I spoke about, what I want to study, why I want to study it, and what kind of knowledge and experience I obtained in order that I feel that will help me to study that. The second paragraph, I discussed the reason behind me choosing what I chose, and then the last paragraph, the conclusion paragraph, I obviously wrote what knowledge or skills I've obtained in order to help me through university. I also briefly mentioned my future goals in regards to nursing as general. So just keep it sweet, brief. Personal statement, like it's a personal statement. You get many examples, samples rather, of personal statements that you can find online, but please do not copy these, because if you copy them you will be penalized with plagiarism. So just take that into consideration. And at the end of the day, you don't really want to copy somebody else's personal statement, because when it's time for the interview, they're gonna ask you questions that is based on your personal statement, and if you're unable to answer them, it's gonna look shady. All right, so yeah, so basically that brings me to the end of my YouTube video, guys. I hope you liked it. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I hopefully will see you in my next video. Bye.